So good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne, live on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel, and we are getting ready for the first of three Donny Chaingangs this week, because we have another of our really busy weeks where on Tuesday we have our open to all chain gang, on Wednesday we have our women's only Wednesdays Donny Chain Gang, the WOW DCG, and then on Thursday we're back again with the open Donny Chain Gang. Three big rides, lots of people are due to be taking part. We're going to see just how busy it actually gets, because it's been pretty mad. Those members of the Donny Chain Gang Supporters Club who've been reading their emails will know that we have been absolutely flat out here at Full Speed Events, because we've been out at races as well as lots of work for the UCI. So it's been really busy and great to be back and absolutely flat out. Now, couple of things people do need to know about tonight. First of all, we are in France. We're on Caspas. It's a classic Donny Chain Gang route, and we will be diving in with our beacons in a moment. Our beacons, key to making the ride work. Now, tonight is going to be bigger numbers than we've had for a little while. Seeing the numbers tick up, and it does mean that, quick heads up, you're probably not going to be able to see the very front to the very back, or the back to the front, or anything close, because once we go over 100 riders, the Zwift doesn't render all those riders. It keeps the game playable. But it does mean if you're on the front, you won't see where the back is, and they could be distanced by some margin. The same if you're on the back, the front may well be distanced. Now, the man who's looking after the back is going to be Carl Briggs. Carl Briggs is going to be our bus driver at the back on the red beacon, and our yellow beacon is going to be the man who is the one and only Jimmy Allen. Now, it is going to be a busy night, so we are going to head straight across first of all to our beacon. And tonight, because Russ is having a well-earned break on the way through, we are going to go across and dive in with the man who hopefully is going to be on the end of the phone line very shortly indeed, because we're going to try and get in touch with the one and only yellow beacon that will be the Wolf himself. It's Jimmy Allen.
Hi, mate. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I should explain for the viewers that of the two, you are the one on the right and not on the left.
Yeah.
Of the,
got the old Mondrian, isn't it? The old, the old Tour de France kit. I can't remember the name of it.
Yes, indeed. You're in.
Sorry, I've got a picture on. I've stopped the video because he's got sound on. Have you got a picture of me and somebody else on there? Sorry, I'm with you now.
Would I do a thing like that to you?
I think I might know what you're showing, but go ahead.
Well, it's you and a certain very famous rider who it's great to see back on form. A rider who has regularly been going across to the Ruler Live, and we actually have a giveaway tonight for members of the Donny Chain Gang Supporters Club to go to Ruler Live. They have to have read their emails to know what they need to do and what the trigger will be. I'm not going to say it live on air until it actually happens. But
okay.
Great to see, and great to see that you had a fantastic time out in Mallorca, getting some preparation for a week as the Wolf once again.
That's right. I've caught up now. I'm with it. Jan Ulrich, what a guy. He was so welcoming. He's sort of a bit nervous sometimes. Such a rider on the road, and you're sometimes a little bit reticent to sort of go forward. And I saw someone else getting a photograph and thought, I'll have to get one. I can't ride past Jan Ulrich without getting some sort of memory of it. And he was brilliant. Just had his arm around me and, yeah, come on now, no problem. And rode with him for a while, and he was doing it to everybody. Not a problem, smiling, waving at everybody. Just fantastic experience. Yeah, I had to pinch myself a few times, to be honest.
I bet, and probably like me, watched him so many times on TV that when you see somebody in real life, it's like, oh, okay, this is, what do I do now? And it's going to be a bit like that tonight, because of course everybody's graced by the presence of the Wolf, the man who keeps everybody on their toes, waiting to pounce and issue the signal that the go to see just when the riders are going. Up to that point, though, we've got a big pack tonight on what is quite a tough course, with it being Caspat. So I hope you've got your typing fingers at the fourth and all ready to move.
Yes, it's already at 93, so yeah, we might have us work cut out, but I'm sure, like I said, as long as we've got that sort of nucleus of riders that know what they're doing, not chasing after the front all the time. I'm sure we'll be fine. And we've got a bit of tricky course, haven't we? We've got that sort of the climb at the end, which is obviously going to be where it explodes at the end. But yeah, it's a good racing course. Saying this to Russ the other week, it's like I think you just said, it's a classic Donny Chaingang course, and it's where you can sort of split it and you can get back, and it sort of becomes a little bit tactical. So yeah, it's something. It's one to look forward to, definitely.
Definitely going to be looking forward to seeing how it plays out. Well, we've got just over 3.5 minutes to the start, so I'm going to let you go brief the multitude of troops that are out there at the moment. So we'll let you head out there, and you never know. One of our riders on the Chaingang tonight, one of the members of the DCG gang, the supporters club, maybe replicating your time with Jan Ulrich. So we'll have to see who is going to win those. We've got to say a massive thank you actually to Joff and all of the team at Scott Sports for the tickets. So it's 2 tickets that the members have up for grabs tonight to go to Ruler Live. If you've never been, it is absolutely amazing. The chance literally to go stand at the bar and have a drink with the stars of the sport, the inside of sport, and always the best bikes there. And of course, going to see the guys from Scott Sports there as well. I've got to say a big thank you to Joff, who's on the Chaingang again tonight. So he's going to be in business, and we'll just see who gets to go and see what's happening down in London. So the members.
That sounds superb. That sounds absolutely brilliant. Yeah, somebody's going to be really lucky getting that.
They are indeed. We've already disqualified one person from the competition for breaking the rules, trying to get in and beat everybody else. That'll teach them not to read to the end of the page. Deliberately done, I have to say, just to make things a little bit more difficult. With a prize like this from Scott, we've got to say it is definitely going to be tough. So, Jimmy, good luck tonight. We might well catch up with you part way through. We'll see how the ride's going and how much of that hair and that wolf's mane is still intact, so it's halfway round.
Cheers, pal.
Cheers, Jimmy. So great to catch up with Jimmy Allen, and this is the route we're talking about. We are talking about, of course, Caspats. Now we head out from the Pens, and we have 14 kilometres of flat road as we head out. In fact, the first of the series climbs, and it's only a slight climb, is the Aqueduct climb, where a little blue blob has just gone over the gorge. Then we go on to the Petite KOM, and that is the bigger of the 2 climbs, and that is where traditionally it will split. That's where Carl Briggs, our red beacon, is going to have his work cut out in keeping everybody together at the back and keeping everybody pulled in. Remember, the red beacon is there to look after everybody at the back. So if you do start to struggle on the ride, you're on it for the first time, don't panic. The red beacon is there. He'll try and bring you up to the group. If you're not going to make it, he'll sit at the back, and you can talk about cake, gym, beer, Jan Ulrich, how long Jimmy's hair is, you name it. So don't forget, you can grab ticket on the Group Hetto on the red bus, and not a problem at all. Right, we are going to move across to the profile. So we'll jump from our Zwift Hacks map. A big thank you to Zwift Hacks and Zwift Insider. Across to the Velo Viewer graphic. Now, the Velo Viewer graphic is taken from the Velo Viewer site, and Ben and all the team, John Wiles on tonight from Velo Viewer, making this happen for us. And I've got to say a massive, massive thank you to them. Another of our key supporters. Now, the team who put this together take all of their data from Strava, and as you can see, we were saying basically it's flat as a pancake until you get to that 12k mark. It ramps up slightly to 13k, then you drop down, and it is in flat 14 out of the first 16 kilometers. So it really is definitely a very, very interesting piece of route to take on with the Chaingang, because that flat start is where everybody needs to come together. Then we've got a couple of kickers where we've got to try and keep the group together, and that's where people learn the skill and the speed about holding it together. We climb up to the top. The top is at about 19.25k on lap number 1, and we drop back down through the Marina Sprint and go through that finishing line for the first time and go back out and over once again. The aim to basically all pile on top of Jimmy Allen, and that is the plan. Let's take a little bit of a look and see how our riders are getting on. So you can just see the group out on the course at the moment, and it's looking pretty good to me as we just see them making the way around the circuit. Let's get the helicopter up in the air. I think most people just about coming out from the blocks. Remember, the aim here to get the group together, to get the pack together. There are loads of rides on Swift. There's thousands of the things going out, blasting it from the gun, not looking after each other. The Chaingang has its own unique feel, and that is because we are very, very insistent on keeping that group together. In fact, we ban people if they play silly what's-its and there's too much muppetry going on deliberately. Fortunately, haven't had to do it to too many people because everybody gets it. Everybody goes quicker, everybody goes faster if everybody plays the game. Teamwork, just like, oddly enough, the Chaingang. So we're going to dive across into the ride here, live on the Donny Cycling YouTube channel. The Donny Chaingang coming live to you from France, from Caspats, 49k the total distance. Remember, we will finish at the Marina Sprint, and that will come in slightly earlier than that, at 49k, and that is because we always allow a warm down. Because this is a workout, it's not just a silly sprint. So let's dive in with our riders who are just about to make the way down and around that turn, and just on that run in now through the finishing line for the first time. So 2 full laps of the Caspat circuits to do here on the Donny Chaingang. Live with me, Matt Payne. So we are just riding in with Jimmy Allen. We're going to pull up the standards here. Let's just keep a check. So the gang at the moment holding nicely. You can just see that's a decent sized pack at the moment. We're going to take a little bit of a run down towards the back of the group. Just to see that everybody has got out in one piece. Looks like Carl Briggs, our red beacon, holding nicely, and we just see loads of people appear, oddly enough, around our beacon. That is quite simply because with over 100 riders on the ride, Zwift will only render the 100 nearest riders as the crow flies. So that means it's taking those groups together. So just keeping a check, looks like 1 or 2 people just joining slightly late here. So Eddie Dench at the moment with Mr. Booth. Then we're going to just see Thomas Scrapper just pushing his way into the group. So at the moment, he's last rider out on the course, just working his way up towards the beacon, just seeing Eddie and Mr. Booth on the way through. So remember, as you look at your screen, top left-hand side, as we look at AD Dench, the man who's pushing off, or should I say holding, for the National Hill Climb. 168 now, 200 watts, top left-hand side of your screen. 67 revs per minute, 112 beats per minute. You can see the pace he's doing, 38 kph as he goes underneath the bridge. And AD going for the full aero outfit on the kit now. Covered 1.8k, 0 meters of climbing. So far, 3 minutes 30 on the clock, and 80 at the moment. If we take a look at the map, you can just see on here the slight dots at the back as people just sprint to get back into the group. So it looks like Rowan Dubash just joining into that group after a late start. So 80 at the moment is our last rider on the road, just pulling up with the group. So it looks like Jimmy Allen just confessing his sins at Nonnas at the moment, just letting us know that that's why he didn't actually make it out to the National Hill Climb. Just taking a look back from Carl Briggs. Carl, now one of our regular riders, and a rider who has seen massive improvements playing the game, which is fantastic to see out on the course. Brilliant to see that we're still seeing week after week improvements from our riders who are riding the Donny Chaingang week in, week out, and that's the aim. The aim is to get everybody improving on the way through. So just seeing Chris Canham jumping in, and all just working the way around the back. Remember, the aim here is to work as a gang. Good to see Mr. Coleman has made it. After a couple of tech issues, Dan back in, and Dan, of course, a rider who we know is going to be absolutely pinging on the climbs if his legs have recovered from the weekend. Loads of people out racing at the weekend, and I was lucky enough to bump into a lot of people. So as our riders just make it off the top of the bridge and come into the island proper, we're just going to take a little bit of scroll out. You can just get a better look. We're just riding in with Ian Taylor. Interested to see some very nice glasses from Ian Taylor. Some 6R4 ones going to Dan Elmore, the organiser of the National Road Championships over in Lincoln. Also, the man who is regularly out driving his 6R4, his Group B rally car, and some matching shades were up on Facebook not all that long ago. And don't forget, Ian Taylor, of course, the sponsor of Oakley August. Here Comes the Sun, and is going to be helping us put together. In fact, he's pretty much single-handedly put together the list of people who are supporting the 12 Days of Christmas. So who has the 6R4? Dan Elmore, the organiser of the National Road Race Series. Mr. Mason, if you want to know any details, just go onto the 6R4 site and or get in touch with me. I know him reasonably well. So I've got to say a massive thank you to the team here. Yeah, a 6R4 car, Group B rally car. Look it up online. It is the business. If you saw it on Top Gear in Dad's Stig's Dad, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Super fast, super loud, and a lot of fun. But more importantly, of course, Ian Taylor is the man who's bringing us the 12 DCGs of Christmas every single Donny Chaingang of December, including our Women's Only Wednesdays. Going to have giveaways for the members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. You've got to be in it to win it. The members of the DCG gang tonight having a spot prize courtesy of the gang at Scott Sports. Scott Sports with 2 tickets they've donated to the Chain Gang for the Ruler live in London with the kit. So don't forget, if you're a member and you read your emails, you know exactly what you need to do at the moment that we give you that trigger. However, don't go early, because it's a bit like trying to put in an early attack on the Donny Chain Gang. You're not going to go anywhere, because you'll get dragged back in. Now let's take a little bit of a check who we've got on the Chain Gang tonight. Mr. Scrapper just making his way up there. Tom Hepton's in. Dan Coleman's made his way up. Just Potts is in here. Looks like Russ Senior's made it. Jimmers Brown. Let's have a little bit of a check. Everybody is indeed on board by the look of it. I'm just going to drop back. We'll drop back to Carl. In fact, Carl is off the back, and it looks like Jeff Cecil at the moment. Jeff, give him a hand, buddy. So at the moment, these riders just chasing now. Darren Topless, a man who had something fall from outer space on the Sugar Pine shop today, looking not like his avatar. Bad marks that, because he's not quite half as hairy as his avatar is these days at the moment. So good to see Darren back in the Chain Gang with us as well. Now, speaking of Scott Sports, here we are. One and only Geoff Watson in the on the Scott bike there, and Scott donating those tickets to Ruler Live.
Right on.
I'm loving the Ian Taylor's comment. OCE bars are too tasty. You just end up eating them all. A bit like me. So we're here in France, just watching this group make its way through. Just looking at the riders just near the back, just tucked on to the back of the group. One long string at the moment. The front definitely not in touch with what the back is doing at the moment. Just keeping the check of those numbers. They're not huge by any stretch of the imagination. What we are seeing, however, though, is that what is happening is that it's just the pace of the pack that is stretching it out, because the drag, the new version of the drag, is just changing how it's riding at the moment, and it means that it is a long, thin line at the moment. It's definitely stretched out in a long line. Now let's take a little bit of a look. Courses on here. Looks like Claire Richardson back in with us again. Claire, one of our really fast riders. Good to see Run Dubash back on. Nick Dorsey back in with the gang as well. Sandy Smith in with us, and looks like Luke Hart's in here. Start working our way up through. Andy Drybus here. Looks like Bobby Mason in the gang. So you can see Colin Bell on the gang here, Beefy from Cycleways in the gang. I'm just taking a little bit of a look. Looks like we've just seen a bit of a split in the group here. So if we take a look forward from Colin, this is the view from Colin's shade. So you just see that gap just opening up. You've got to stay attentive in this game. It doesn't pay to miss a trick. At this course, it's a fast one out from the block. Sometimes I do think it's better when we actually have a slightly tougher course from the word go, because what we find is it stretches very quickly on this course, whereas on a slightly harder course, it just compresses it enough to give us a little bit more of that aero advantage. But early days, 7.2k in at the moment, and looks like everybody riding well. Nobody's doing silly numbers, which is great to see. Thank you so much, guys, for playing the game properly. That's what it's all about, making sure that we get everybody around the course. It looks like Benjamin Taylor is in the gang. You can see Gail Phillips is in here now. Gail is the rider who's responsible. She is our supremo of the spreadsheet, the doyen of the data, and realistically in charge of our red beacons. Has the inevitable herding cats at task, or keeping the enthusiasm at bay of our riders. Gail, of course, also out at the National Hill Climb and working hard behind the scenes there as well. But Gail, of course, one of our regular riders on the Chaingang, and good to see she's in the group at the moment. Just keeping an eye on our riders. Tom Lindley is in here. Tom, another of our regular riders. Good to see Tom back on. I think he's had a few weeks holiday, but he is nicely in here. So Mark Thorpe in the gang, looks like Chris Suspicio in as well. Jason Stevens in the group, just having a little bit of a run through the volume of riders. Nicely bunching here in the pack. Let's take a little bit of a look at that with the zoom in and out. It is very, very tight indeed. Well, looks like Jimmy Allen's feeling confident. He's loving the work being done by people, because he is potentially going to signal a sprint shortly as we come into the pavé sprint area. Very, very brave, and as he says, sprinting from the back is key. Now, if you sprint from the front of the group on Zwift, you will go slow. It is really easy. You will A, look like a muppet, B, you'll go slow, C, you'll waste loads of energy. You want to get those jerseys, you want to get the fast times. Speaking for somebody who has to play the game to the limit, start behind the pack. Start about 6 meters to 4 meters off the back of the pack, and use the entire length of the pack to go. Don't kick until you actually see it coming in. It is absolutely critical that you go from the back to the front, not just because it is the way to keep the group together even though it goes through, but also you will get a faster time. It's really, really simple. So when Jimmy gives the shout, and today is all about waiting for those triggers, then it's time to go. So I'm loving Taylor Leish's indicator there. He's as he's put, I've not recovered from last time we did an intermediate sprint. Mr. Donny may need the watts later. Definitely, you can just see Mr. Corbin just say so. Dan Coleman just rolling round the back already, and they know that they want to be rolling a little bit further back. You can see Mike Conley in the group at the back here, another regular. Remember the aim then to come back. Yeah, Isaac Oliver, I don't think will be able to resist now. We've got to head into the Pavé sprint area. It's quite a long way yet, but I think we're going to see our riders heading in. Remember, key to this is to not go quickly on the run in. You will work yourself into the ground. You'll do too much effort and it won't work. So the gang poised together at the moment. This group looking good. If we take that helicopter up as we come in through the bridge, pretty much all together. You can just see the avatars in front of Jimmy, just being distance. And we have the boss, the man from Velo Viewer in the house. Good to see that we've got Ben Lowe in the group here. Ben tucked in here. Ben, of course, responsible for our fantastic graphics. We use the stats and the data on the Velo Viewer site without fail so much every week. I couldn't even add the numbers in there that we actually use it, because it is absolutely critical when we're planning the routes and looking at the training rides. I know a lot of the groups actually now are copying our routes and copying our data, even copying our format, or trying to. There's only one Donny Chaingang, let's face it, but they do say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But we are busy always putting in the work and checking out the stats on the way through, and making sure that the rides fit what we want it to do in terms of that training. Now, our riders are currently working while this group is sitting reasonably close together. It's just starting to string out as people start to have a little bit of a panic, little bit of a flap, and you can see people just appearing on the back, and that is quite simply because we don't show the whole pack now. We show the nearest 100 to whichever rider we're following. In this case, that is Dan Coleman, so we'll get the rearmost 100, because I think he's almost the last rider. I think Tim Corby actually technically is the last man on the road at the moment. Remember, the key to going quick on a sprint, or to being able to attack fast, is to build up that speed in the group, in the pack at the back. That makes a massive difference as you make your way through the group. And Tim Corby just sitting at the back here. You can see Mr. Toppings doing the same. I think it's going to be Rob Taylor just drifting to the back here. So Benjamin Taylor dropping back. Keith Richardson, he's doing the same here. You can just see everyone just trying to hold at the back. Just trying to keep in the slipstream, just holding the pace. Remember, we're waiting for that signal. The question is, what signal will it be that comes out first? Will it be the signal for those people who are planning on heading down to London, trying to get in, the members trying to get in to Ruler Live, or will it be the signal for the sprint that comes first? So as our riders go in through the sunflowers. So Mantis Toboggan, it's really easy. The reason that you're seeing flickering riders at the back of a blob, it's really simple. That's because we've got over 100 riders, and you will only get the 100. Here goes the sprint. Here goes the sprint. Now, just watching Tukey in here, seeing him come from the back of this pack on the way through. We're looking for some big numbers here. Tomlinson's going well. Looks like Geoff also doing the same. Let's follow the man responsible for those tickets. So here we go, piling the way through. And you can see even coming from the very back of the pack, heading in towards the front. That group is starting to make its way. They needed every metre of that sprint assistance as they come in and through. Now, who is going to take the Pavé sprint reverse? Now, Claire Richards, I'm not sure whether Claire's going too hard there. Annie Driver, an 18.63, that's a good time. Dan Coleman, 18.73, good time for Geoff, outside the 20-second mark there. That's still a good time. So now's the time. It has to come back to yellow, please. Back to yellow. So, as Julian says, the group now needing to sit up so that the gang can come back together. Now, just looking at the women's sprint times here, got a real who's who in here. We've got Claire Richardson, super fast, 23.02, one of our real fast riders generally. We've got Gail Phillips, our red beacon, Supremo in there as well. Just taking a little look down past Clark into Ruby Isaac, of course. We've got Tracy here, Tracy Seeley. We've got Tracy Fletcher, the former cross world champion, looking to defend and take that title in Ipswich in December. They got youngsters like Taylor and Lauren O'Brien in this group as well, and you can see that that 9-second spread indicative of a fast sprint driver at the moment, an 18.63, and we're just going to take a little bit of a roll down, 34.17 at least at the ties down there, and you can just see a big old spread. Now let's have a little look at the group, see how it's coming back together. Again, we're going to roll our way back down. Looks to me like still spread plenty as we make our way down towards the yellow beacon, in towards the red beacon. We're going to drop back though. We are going to work our way back down to the back of the group. So it looks like Mantis just on the back of the group here, just in. I think it's going to be Welsh just dropping in behind there. So this is where you need to stay in and close to the wheel. Don't let the gaps go. If you're at the back, don't let the gaps go. No matter how much you want to go to Ruler Live, you need to watch that back wheel. So just keeping a check on our riders making the way in and through. There's going to be two very happy people who will have a big thank you to say to Scott Sports on the way through, because we will have our winners in, just waiting for the computer to finish refreshing all of those. If you missed it, well, it was snuck it in the sentence there for a reason. Knew that there'd be quite a few people wanting to head off to go and visit the Ruler stand. So let's just take a little bit of a refresh. Right, now's the time when our group needs to be snug. They need to hold it close together here. Just going to keep a check on the front of that group. And they need to keep off the watts as this group is working to try and come back together again. It's still a little bit snake-like as it goes down. It's just a little bit spread out at the moment as we come off that aqueduct climb. We're going to come down into the flatlands again. So you can just see a bit of a spread here. This is what we want to see now. This group just starting to pull itself back together again. Tim Colby just distanced a little bit here from the group. Maybe you're going to need a little bit of assistance from the back here as well, just to pull Tim back in again. Let's have a look. Oh, he's good. He's stretching his legs. He knows when I go back on him, he's going to get questioned here. So Tim Colby just stretching his legs at the back. Time to just get those groups back together again, please, guys. Just make sure you ease off on the front enough to get the back of the group back together. Some big gaps in the pack at the moment, but it looks like nicely starting to come back together again. So just doing a little bit of checking of our results as we go in and past the side here of the Abbey here in France. So we're just checking and double checking the systems, making sure that all the emails agree, which they do. Three sets of people came in the same minute block. The first three came in within that same minute block. In fact, they came in within a few seconds of each other. I have absolutely no idea how any of these three managed to do it so fast, because they hit at some incredible speed. I think they must all have had them ready on cut and paste, to be honest, or ready just to press the go button. However, the winner of the tickets, courtesy of Scott Sports, with 2 tickets to Ruler Live, they are going to Chris Ball plus 1 guest. Honourable mentions to Caroline Mansfield and Neil from Gritty, and to Matt Nunn. You were close. You were the only 2 people to get anywhere near to the pace of Chris, but Chris Ball just edging that. Quite literally a photo finish. So Chris Ball plus 1 will be heading to Ruler. And I think just taking a look, I think Chris is going to be heading down there on the Friday. So congratulations to Chris and one of the riders. Absolutely, I can't tell you how close that was. It was really, really close. I actually double checked on both devices of the email rolling here just to make sure, because all 3 landed within the same about 5 seconds, and then it ticked into the next minute, and there's quite a few more after that, and actually a few more in the minutes after that. However, first one in was Chris Ball. Well done, Chris. Matt Nunn and Caroline Mansfield in that same minute, and Geoff Watson of Scott Sports. A massive, massive thank you, Geoff, for that. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And remember, you've got to be a member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. We have giveaways. Our next giveaways after this one is due to be our Gritty Climate Week, because next week, to tie in with the COP26 summit, to tie in with the Climate Week, Gritty, our sustainable sports manufacturer as well, they are going to be looking after us on Climate Week next week with giveaways, and all the riders on the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club getting extra discount, as well as some fantastic prizes as part of that Climate Week. We've got some great routes as well. Absolutely some great routes as well on Climate Week next week. Really looking forward to those. Russ will be back at the helm as well, which means that Jimmy will get to play on them, and there's at least one route on there that I think Jimmy will pursuit Jimmy down to the ground, and the wolf will be having fun. There's definitely one route which Jimmy won't particularly like, it has to be said. Now, the group at the moment is well spread out, so we're going to drop back from our giveaways for the members of the DCG gang. Remember, they're the people who support it. Quite literally, 10% of the riders on the ride today support the other 90%. It is that straightforward. Without that 10%, just doesn't happen. A bit like cycle sport, generally, it has to be said. A massive thank you to everybody who's donated, whether that's a one-off donation or a member of the DCG gang. Our thank yous go out in terms of giveaways and discounts, as well as a heads up on the routes. You can join. The links all on the Facebook pages. So, remember, join if you can, donate if you can. Don't stretch yourselves to the point you can't. Remember, we set it up to help people, not to take the shirt off your back, quite literally. We don't want that to happen. We've always said there will always be a free-to-ride option for people who need it. Now, just watching the team on this climb, not too bad at the moment. Mr. Douglas just at the back, is missed some breaks rolling at the back. Could see Tracy Fletcher. Tracy, of course, was the first of 50, of course. Or is it? No, it's Tiff. My apologies. It's the other Fletcher. There's two T Fletchers. One's Tracy, one's Tiff. This is Tiff, who's riding on the gang. Tiff, a glutton for punishment. She was riding 3 a week quite often. So let's have a little bit of a check here. Now, remember, we're not even at half the ride distance, so let's take a little bit of a check on the way up through here. So remember, you can pretty much ignore all the messages on the screen. The ones that matter, they come from your yellow beacon. Everybody else trying to help out, but remember, the ride leader, Jimmy Allen, he's our beacon. He's the man. His job is to hold it all together. Very experienced rider, a man who was in at the inception of the Chaingang. Remember, the front group at the moment, they're not actually doing silly numbers. Just take a little bit of a check out the front, and the answer is nope. Not one of them pushing big numbers on the front. It's simply dynamics of the group. Even at 12 kilometers an hour, the aerodynamics will play a factor in how much effort you have to put in. And you can just see that group just nicely together. We'll just take the helicopter up in the air. Well, so that, you know what? That is a lovely message I've just had come through from Caroline from Gritty, saying well done to the winner. That was fun to chase go to to Ruler live. Fantastic stuff, and that's what it's meant to be. It's all meant to be fun. Don't forget Caroline, of course, responsible for our next giveaway, and that is going to be the Gritty giveaway. The Climate Week all next week to tie in with the second week of the summit up in Glasgow, and really are looking forward to really highlighting some of the changes. We've got some real monumental routes. We've got some really representative routes. It all is there for a reason. Every route generally on the Chaingang is picked for a reason, whether it is Cast Pass, whether it is the routes out in Mercury Islands, whether it's one of our mountain top finishes, whether it's one of our flat sprint stages. We're going into a Gritty Week next week, and then we have a week off of the giveaways. We then go into OTE week, courtesy of Annie Simpson and the team at OTE. Then we're on to the 12 DCGs of December, and that is the gang who are going to be taking away those prizes, the members of the DCG gang. So, if you want to be a member of the DCG gang, go on to the Chain Gang. Maybe give yourself the present with a chance to win some amazing prizes all the way through. Makes a huge amount a huge amount of difference to what Russ and I can do in the amount of time. Now, when the KOM signs come up, we will soon be reading the Hall of Shame, the statement of shame down the side, because basically, if anybody has gone off the front and is playing silly Watts, what will happen is they will cross the line first, and it will be a long line of shame up on the front. It is indeed. the KOM board of shame. And the more faster you go, the more you drag it out, the longer it takes to get back together again, and then generally later it is before we actually press the trigger, or in the worst case we just ignore you, because we do actually take pictures of everybody off the front, oddly enough. So just taking a little look at the numbers, looks like the numbers are all pretty good, because not seeing any silly numbers up at the front, I have to admit. I'm with Mr. Mason, who doesn't like the KM shame. I definitely hate it, because basically it's just too big a climb. Any climb's too big these days. Glad it wasn't me going up winners. I absolutely detest winners with a passion. It is horrible. Mean, mean, mean hill climbers. I think my greatest achievement is still riding up it on a 3-speed touring bike when I was a kid with huge pannies on. Right, Mr. Common sat at the back and holding a nice pace here. Pedalbridge just sat in front from Sterling, then Smithson. Now the gang's going to come up and over the top. On the way down, as we start to regroup, we're going to try and jump in and join in with Jimmy. But remember, key here, it's all about the front easing and the back pushing. Oh, the little board of shame is up. We're not far away. We're going to jump in with Jimmy Allen on our way up here. And remember, Jimmy, this is the man you want to be by. If you can't see the yellow beacon on your screen, you're doing something very badly wrong. So 37 minutes in, our riders are just zigzagging the way up the climb as we head in towards the summit here. We'll soon see the split there. Now Ruby is not surprised. Ruby is, she wouldn't weigh anything. Ruby must weigh about 20 kilos wet through. So remember, if you are one of the riders at the front, you won't see the riders at the back. And you won't know quite how big that gap is. The gap, well, we know for a fact, it was at the top of the summit, was in the region of about 20 seconds. So it gives you an indication of the gaps that have been pulled out. Remember, the aim is to stay by the yellow beacon. So Jimmy Allen did a 9-minute 49. Interesting to see the times as we drop down. No, Mr. Driver, the finish is at the Marina Sprint this time. You need to join the gang, mate. You get told exactly where everything is. You get a full heads up on the course. A briefing from me, from Zwift Insider as well, for all of the members. Or watch the YouTube show, because of course we do tell you it's 2 full laps on the way round as well. And you know you're going to be in. So, run down now on the way in. And start watch these sort of riders making the way in. And this is where everybody needs to regroup. If you went up the front, you're now going to get very bored waiting for everybody to come back together again. Jimmy's group, the key group, remember, we regard the front as being the front of the group that Jimmy is in, the yellow beacon, whoever that is, whether that's Emma on the men's or the Russ and Jimmy on the open one. And that is the key point now. This is where the lighter riders can really struggle sometimes, because the pace down here will be fast enough that you'll see riders like Lauren O'Brien really having to push here to stay in the back of this pack. So Lauren tucked in here with Woodward at the moment, and they've got to push. You can't let this gap go now. Just seeing Tiff Fletcher just being dropped off the back there. Dangerous move for Tiff. Tiff, one of our lighter riders. And now you can just see the number of watts she's having to kick out here. So just in with Fletcher at the moment. Absolutely having to nail this just to get back on again. You've seen those numbers up in the red zone and not making ground on the group. And that is why we always say you've got to stay into the group and you've got to stay on that pack. Come on, Tiff. Time to push back into that group. Smith off the back as well. Come on, mate. Now's the time to push. Paul Smith at the back. Needs to keep kicking. Remember, you will get back in again. I think Jimmy going to get a proper regroup as we come down onto the flatlands at the bottom. You see again another of our lighter riders here. This is Benjamin Taylor. So Taylor just being distanced on his way down here, and it's because he's light. It's really simple. You've really got to keep pushing the pressure on those pedals to get yourself back in again. So heads up warning time, looks like going to be the first of our yellow cards for the winter season coming out. We have a warning system on the Donny Chaingang. We do a warning, a nice one. These guys play the game, don't ride off the front. People then get a do it again, you are in, and then we just ban people. Wonders of having a registration system. We will ban members of the DCG gang if they are part of those people tearing it up at the front. Consider this a heads up. We are currently got the cameras up the front. If you have gone off the front of the group and are watching this live, I would suggest you head back pretty sharpish. Don't say we didn't warn you. So you see new times being set by the group here in and around the yellow beacon. And you can just see, look at the number of thumbs up coming as these riders regroup here. Lots of people getting fastest times in and around. So time to pile on the yellow beacon here. It's going to take a little bit of a run back down the road here because it looks like Maddie Smith at the moment joining late. Come on, Maddie, time to push in, quick kick. So Maddie jumping in. Looks like Annie Driver just there, just say so. Mr. Briggs is there now. Maddie is kicking out 4 watts per kilo. She could get herself on pretty quick here. Mr. Driver is going to be giving you a hand here, I think. You can see Andy going back. So Mr. Driver just making his sort of way back in. Looks like Maddie rolling into that group. Craig Genther's in the group. Mr. Briggs having a good ride at the back here, nicely patrolling. Mr. Langmead, you need to ask Mr. Runnett the answer to that one. I'm afraid that's his specialist subject. So let's jump in with our yellow beacon. Easier said than done, he says, firing his way in. So let's catch up with our beacon. We are going to just make a quick call and see if we can get hold of the one and only Jimmy Allen. The Wolf is in action now. The Wolf is notorious for his fairly random calls or his fairly planned calls of when he's going to go for it. I think today he's in a nice mood though, because there's been some really good behaviour on the Chaingang. We're just making sure we are in touch with him. It looks like it's not going to be too long before we can say hello to the man that is Jimmy Allen, the Wolf. How are you doing, Jimmy?
Good, mate. Yeah, it's been plain sailing so far. There's a few off the front still. Could do with them coming back, but yeah, brilliant. I mean, really tight up that climb, wasn't it?
It was very
so,
good.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, very good. There was a few people just pushing on the front, getting caught by the fact that they can't see the back of the pack. And once you go over the top, we all know, the moment you go over the top of Cass Parts, and this is what makes it such a great run in the finish, it opens up, doesn't it? It picks up so fast.
Yeah, and you said in commentary, you can understand the lighter riders. They get, it's a real task for them to stay on. So, but if we all be sensible at the bottom, they'll get back on. I'm just trying to sort of assess now whether they're back together on the back, and have those lighter riders got back? I think they have, haven't they?
Yep, the lighter riders at the moment have got back on, and
brilliant.
My camera's just decided it's so warm in here. So yeah, the back of the group at the moment is Mr. Richardson, Keith at the back here, at the back of the pack. If we take a little bit of a roll, there are gaps appearing in the front still, so we'll see where they are at the moment. But it's looking pretty good at the moment that pretty much everybody has come back, and this is why we introduced the registration system, so that we could patrol the front if there are regular offenders who deliberately tear it up. Then that's not good news, and we'll take them out. But we do see people sometimes having a problem because of the tech, and basically they're riding on their own and guessing where they are. So, and it can happen to anyone. So there is a little bit.
That's happened to me before. That's happened to me before. But I mean, what I decide to do in that situation is just drop off the back and do my own time trial, because otherwise you're in danger of ripping it all up. So I think that's what I'd say. If you do have any tech issues, if riders disappear, just take it on the chin, go to the back, and do a sort of a 20-minute effort or something like that, and then come back stronger next week. Definitely
the way to go. Right, looks like pretty much all rolling back together again. We're just going to take a little bit of a sneaky run up whilst we've got Jimmy able to see all of the screens. Looks like we're going to take a little run because we'll soon see whether there is a group disappeared off the front. Doesn't look like there is a big group off the front at all, and seeing lots of 1.5s, 1.6, 1.7s on the front here, which is nice to see. The back should just squeeze in there. So looks like everybody playing the game and back together again. I'll put away my yellow cards. I was waiting to give somebody a warning. It's been ages since I've had to ban anybody. It's it's good.
People panicking, Matt, and that's understandable, but they don't need to panic. It's all good.
Yeah, don't panic. The wolf has got this. He's good with packs, oddly enough. So we're going to let you crack on, mate. I'm loving the fact your heart rate is still rolling around about 113 beats a minute at the moment. It's proper stalking.
Yeah, that's Mallorca.
It is clearly.
Mallorca in the legs.
Absolutely fine, mate. We can always do about another 4 laps if you want, just to get up to the right kind of distance.
No thanks.
No problems at all. Right, we'll catch up with you hopefully afterwards. Jimmy, good luck, mate, and enjoy.
Cheers, pal. See you in a bit.
So great to catch up with Jimmy out on the ride there, and just seeing the splits just opening a little bit and easing off a little bit. It's just yo-yoing a touch on the way through 48 minutes. Remember, we're on to lap number 2 of 2, finishing at that marina, and certainly looks at the moment like things are very tight indeed. So remember, we've already given away tonight the tickets to go to Ruler, courtesy of Scott's Sports. Massive thank you to them for that. Looking forward to hearing all about it. And Chris, make sure you tag plenty of people in those pictures on that Facebook page. We're really, I think those people who were in there very close, Caroline and Matt, were both very tight, very close indeed. We will see now. Let's take a little bit of a look through the group. The group just about holding together. Some nervousness creeping into the bunch though. In the words of James Jimmy Allen, get off the front. It's a skill. Stay off the front, save your energy. You won't be there the moment it goes down, and all you get called is a muppet. We've done it before, we'll do it again. We don't want to have to do it, but we will see how it is rolling. So stay off the front, don't be the person on the front, because do you know what? you'll find yourself in trouble, because what will happen is you'll suddenly find the world go hammering past, and here we go, group suddenly just goes back together again. Brilliant. And that is what we want to see. So remember, the yellow beacon is what you're looking for. So Jimmy Allen in that Mondrian kit, very appropriate really on a night where we've got a giveaway going to a Ruler Live, thanks to Scott Sports. Don't forget, of course, we've got lots more giveaways. We had the Halo giveaway last week, £350 of basket already preloaded for the winners, and 3 winners, 50, 100 and £200 in the baskets. Remember, for Halloween week, we have a giveaway this week with Scott Sports for the ruler. Next week, we're going to be on to a Gritty, and of course, Gritty Sustainable Sports Apparel going to be out and about. Don't forget, they're going to be at a cyclocross race near you as well. You can catch up with Gritty's Neil Mansfield, and Neil, of course, my co-host on the Crosscast, or in fact, he's really the host. I just go along for the ride personally most of the time with Bruce. So Neil on the Crosscast, and a new Crosscast due out to you very, very shortly indeed. We had an absolute giggle last night recording that. It's been a busy week, we did say. It was very, very fun, and definitely some light relief on the way through. Hopefully that'll translate into a great show for you, but we will see how that translates when we get into the show and that comes out. Don't forget, you can pick that up, the Crosscast, and don't forget, of course, you can also pre-order the T-shirts as well, which is being made by Gritty, who else, for us, and to help race with us. We need to. We've never charged for the Crosscast. We've never put a sponsor on board, and there's a reason for that. We want to keep it truly independent, and we want to be able to criticise those that need criticising and praise those that do as well. And because of that, we've never put a sponsor on board. It does mean that we've funded it out of Neil's, mine, and Bruce's pockets, but there is a limit to that, so we could just do with covering a couple of the costs off on it. If you buy a T-shirt of all the cross leagues from Gritty, get pre-ordered, then that would be great. Now, just keeping a check on the riders in the group here on the Donny Chaingang. I've got to say a massive thank you to everybody who's donated. That has indeed helped with keeping this on the roll. Now, let's take a little bit of a look through here. Everybody just about sitting in with this pace. Just going to take a little bit of a roll at the back. Do you know what? It is, at the moment, this is one of the tightest, biggest packs we have seen for a long, long time. Have the advantage on our screens. We have multiple riders in this pack that we are watching simultaneously. The advantage of having multiple avatars and multiple computer screens down in the studio. And when we say Big Brother is watching you, Big Brother is quite literally watching you. My brother is very big, and is generally just keeping an eye on what's going on. Now, the numbers are good at the moment. Nobody's playing silly what's it say. Everybody's being very careful here. When will we see the trigger being pulled? Because this pack has played the game really well. Everyone has come in on the way through. Now let's have a little look. Looks like Phillips in the pack here. Just looks like Jimmy is in the group here as well. Let's take a little bit of a look up above here. You can just see the pack going over. This is actually a shot we don't use much. It's Neil Mansfield's favourite shot. Talking of Neil, it's the cable cam shot. If you had a cable cam flying up above them, this is it. This is the way it's rolling. Super tight, super snug. I'm loving the new dynamics. It's holding it together properly, and if everybody works together, look at that. It's like a proper Tour de France bunch. This is absolutely brilliant to see, and this is what we want to watch as we come in. Everybody sitting in this pack, nobody getting strung out. Those paces, bits of pace being controlled down. The gang just about holding all together. Just watching a couple of people at the back here having to just put a couple of big pushes in. Dan Coleman, Nick Dorsey, the best dressed man in cycling, looking very reserved at the moment. That's a very ruler-esque kit there. Very nice indeed. So just keeping a check. So just looking at the back of the group, pretty much across the road. Take a little bit of a look up the road, and the go has gone. The go has gone. It's the second one tonight because we went to Ruler live. That was Chris Ball, who is going to be the belle of the ball tonight. Who is going to be taking this home? We are trying to work our way up to the front as fast as we can. It is absolutely flat out up there, as everybody knows that the pressure is on. We've been taken all the way back onto the mainland again here by the Wolf. He's left it late today, but Jimmy Allen has pressed the button, and this is where we see that group string out under the pressure of the riders. How long can you last? Well, in my case at the moment, that won't be very long indeed. The red beacon now sitting at the back, getting ready to catch people for that bus to go, and Carl Briggs now warming up the seats, getting the engine turned over on that Group Hetto bus at the back now. Sandy Smith back with us. Sandy, for those of you who weren't with us in the early part of the year, in the February and March, was absolutely pinging. A rider who's been with us all in the previous year as well. Great to see he's right in there. Richardson pushing on here. Shelley Childs in here. Looks like Isaac Oliver's in here. Burgess in this group. Let's just take a little bit of a run back and see where the damage is being done. We just see it is a long line here, and this is where the gaps are starting to open up. So let's get up above Dave Micklethwaite and Ewan Parry at the moment, because they are in danger. You can just see the gaps opening on the back of the group, and this is how it strings out. So realistic to real life. Matt Woodward's DI2 is like, I'll teach yourself posh kit, mate. I want to get my old bike all done on cables. Now, just seeing Geoff Watson just going pop there. So, could well have been too much cyclocross and running action taking its toll on this man's legs. But massive thank you to Geoff Watson, who sorted us out those ruler tickets from Scott Sports, doing the business here today. He's jumping in with this group number 2 on the road, but they are smaller in number than group number 1, and it's numbers that count, even if you've got good riders in this group. And Donny just making his way in, Ian Taylor in here as well. You can see the groups starting to form. So group number 1 up the road, a yellow beacon group. Then group number 2, this group here, we've got Dubash in here. Dave Micklethwaite is in here. Mantis in this group. Langme, Canham in here as well. McDermott's in this group. Parry, Leach, Potts, really working well here. It's only 5 seconds to the group in front, and that is not very much at all. We take a little bit of a look back. You can see them coming for them. They're going to try and get on now. Russ Senior in the back of this pack with Tom Lindley. They're the riders up at the back. The chase is on. It's 6 seconds from the group being led by Potts at the moment. If we take a drop back, it's only another 5 seconds back, and they're going to be able to see them sandwiched in between. You can see them there at the moment. This group here with OZK just pushing on the front. They're only a matter of a few seconds. Gail Phillips is in here. We've got Tracy in here, Tracy Seal in here, Owen Davis and Keith Hayward in here. We've got Mr. Brown, we've got Mr. Cocking in here, and Nick Rudkin. Cocking and Rudkin just distanced a little bit, so they are effectively group number 4 on the road. A group of 2. And then it's going to be 7 seconds back. This is going to be to Mason Brooks. Karen Brooks in here. You can see Karen back on the gang as well. We've got Benjamin Taylor in here, Mr. Wilson. Then it's going to be Owens. Then we're going to go back. I think that's going to be Ruth Taylor, just a little further back at the moment. And Maddie Smith just being distanced. I think that group should pick up Taylor on the way through. Toplist and Tez going to be coming through with Phillips. Matt Nunn, the man who was nearly there, just missed out on those tickets to Ruler. Sorry to rub it in, mate. And then it is going to be our laughing group. So Mr. Briggs, Mr. Dorsey, and Les. Come on, let's push on, mate. So Les are working, and then Woodward's with the man with the flat DI2. That's probably beyond the Call of Duty for our red beacons. Now let's take a quick dive up the front now as we move up. Watch these gaps in between these groups. You can see the yellow beacon though is already well up the road as we see Taylor now being distanced here. So a huge pack of riders leaving that pavé sprint area, and you can see at the moment that is a good 40, if not 45 riders strong. That leading group at the moment. This means that there's some serious firepower. They can take plenty of turns on the front. There's plenty of riders to share the workload and to keep the pace high to distance the group behind. So just in with Henry Fuller. Henry sitting in with this group at the moment, and just look at these heart rates in here. There's one or two people having a steady ride in here, but good looking, staying steady. 178, 152 in this leading group. Isaac Oliver, good to be, you haven't got one on probably. It's scary living daylights out of us for a youngster. Tom Hepton in here, West in here. You can see consistently people working hard. Tom Crapper again, just missing his. 80 Dench, 169. Just having a look at Mr. Hawkins in here. Mick Hawkins currently 143. Burgess 192. 190, mind you. Riding for fellow Shields race team. Should be able to push it up there, but it looks to me like we're just starting to see another rider being distanced up at the back of this group. Remember, we're going to be on to the climb. The slight climb as we see a gate now. Distance from that front group. Don't panic, mate. Pick up the next group and ride with the next group. We're going to just take a little bit of a run up the road here because we're going to see what happens now when we come onto this. And it looks like Jimmy Allen has gone here. So the Wolf wanting to break this group down. It was about 45 riders. You can see the volume of riders behind him. He's gone early. And you cannot let this man go. The Wolf will take victory in his own right. He's not averse to that. He's quite happy to eat his own young. This young rider, the Wolf here, will take this apart if he has to. He's clearly been taking tips from Jan Ulrich here, Mallorca. He's got those miles in his legs. 3 seconds, and it's Coleman who is leading the chase. This is going to smash it apart the time. Look at that, 31 seconds. 31.55 seconds for Jimmy Allen. Look at the volume of riders getting personal best times up there as they come through. But the gap's now opening. You can just see Oliver Woodall, Sparrow, West, Taylor in trouble, Richardson in trouble, Lindley's in trouble, Runnett's in trouble here, Corby in trouble as well. Dalgleish is the same. Samula's gone, Bale's gone, Tukey's gone. You can just see Cooling, Burgess now distanced out this group. Cheeseman has gone as well. Tomlinson, and you can just see behind. I think this is going to be the next group. Are going to start having a real breadcrumb trail to hoover up on the way through if they work well together. Just taking a little bit of look a bit further down the course here as all these riders go up and through the top. That was very, very scary stuff. And that move by Jimmy Allen really decimating the group. He's pretty much sliced it in half. So half the riders gone on that move by Allen up over the aqueducts. Remember, we still got the Petite KOM and then the run back down the other side. They know they need to distance the big sprinters, people like Mason, who is sat in here as well. Mason just saying something's not right, just easing off. If in doubt, mate, take it steady and just ease out of the paces. That is Mr. Mason who was saying that. I think it was. Yeah, just seeing Mr. Mason's numbers just ease off a little bit here. So let's just take a little bit of a check up the road here now. Ben from Bellevue, a man who's got all the data he'll ever need to ride this perfectly in the pink and grey. Trying to get a decent view of him as we go up and over the top here. Definitely somebody who we know can do the business on the course, and rather realistic looking avatar, actually. That's quite scary. So Ben from Bellevue on the front, Andy Driver just moving up on his side here. Shelley Childs in here, Tom Hepton, Sandy Smith, Isaac Oliver. It's still a who's who up at the front. Just a bit further back looks like Conley and Woodall just getting a little bit of a group. This is the remnants of that first pack. They're just swelling in size. Behind them then you've got the Clark, Corby, Stevens, Tukey and Dalgleish groups. This is now group number 3 on the road. So we have a yellow beacon group at the front of the pack. They are currently 11 seconds in front of this group. So 11 seconds from group 1 to group 2. 6 seconds from group 2 to group 3. on the road, and you can just see what the gap is. You can see them right in front of them. Then we've got Mick Hawkins on his own. Then this is going to be group number 4. So group number 4 just making its way in and through as well. Let's take a little bit of a look here. Group 5, this is massive. This is a huge group. Again, just loving the volume of riders packing themselves in together into groups to make sure that they stay in a pack and don't have to do too much work, but the pace is brutal. Up at the front of the Donny Chaingang here today, we're into November. We are into that period where people are getting quicker and quicker and quicker. Jeff Cecil, quick word of warning. We have ejected somebody for missing out the vowels whilst being upset. Please don't do it. It's a family show. Now, attack off the front here. This is a big, brave move. Who is going to be leading this out? Who is going to want to go for it? It's Jeff. Oh, my goodness, Jeff. You are a brave man. You're mental. You're an absolute mental case, mate. But I'm not. It's just like crazy, crazy attack going on the run-in. Is this sliding room? Is this the sliding room at a moment where he's gone for this? So Cecil on that climb. We're just going to take a little bit of a check back. So Cecil at the moment up the road. He's gone early. Can they close him down? Now, who's the chase being led by here? That looks like that is going to be... is that going to be Birmingham? It is Birmingham. We're right on the fold of the page, which makes life entertaining. We're just going to drop back in and across to the group and get up with Neil Birmingham. Birmingham was leading that chase, but just apologies for the check getting back across because Paul Simonite is in here. And Paul, one of our fast men, he's due a win on the Chaingang. Another of the really fast riders on the Chaingang. He's got Birmingham and Dryburgh right on his heels. Then it's just a little bit further back to that pack now. If you go over the top, you've got to have a decent gap. They're going to get Jeff. Come on, Jeff. Come on, mate. Dig in, buddy. That was a speculative attack before his legs went pop. That's the translation from the Welsh that you saw earlier. I'm absolutely goosed. I'm going to go like a loon, and then it's going to go pop. Boom. I think they heard the boom. Never mind hearing it in Wales. I think they heard it in Norwich over at 1080 as those legs went bang. Now, in this leading group, you can just see Simonite currently sitting, being distanced a little bit here as we just see young Mr. Ketteringham. Now, this youngster, he's one of the fast men of the juvenile and the youth squads out there. And at the moment, looks to me like Ketteringham has got the head of this. Remember, he's lighter, he's younger. It's going to be easier for him to keep those watts per kilo high. However, he won't have the same maximum power levels that you see from the bigger riders behind you. You can just see that group is starting to close back up again. Driver goes up on the front. Look at the numbers coming out here. We're sitting at between 5 and 7 watts per kilo as these riders go up here. Now it's Driver who's pushing on the front here. So Andy on the front of this group here in the light and dark blue, the Tour de Pierre kit there. On his wheel, catching him. Now comes Coleman. Coleman's starting to go. So Mr. Mason just dropping off the pace says not happy man about his stats. So just dropping off. Just keep in touch, Gareth. If you need a hand, just give us a shout. Always good to have the communication from our riders. So just looking up at the front here, Dryburgh leading, Birmingham currently leading that chase down. These riders, we talk about it being all over the road. It is, but it's not as spread out as we've seen. We have seen this before, just get distanced in a long single string of riders. At the moment, if we take that drone up in the air, dodge the alignment, dodge the ruins. Hepton in no man's land at the moment, just pushing his way back in towards that leading group of 7 riders. He'll make 8 riders up at the front of the race. Behind him then, you can see the yellow beacon group here, and that is at the moment about 5 riders that are left, and then they're in 1s and 2s are behind. They need bigger numbers up together. The first big group just coming in and around the turn behind. It's only the same size as our leading group. if a rider starts to go clear over the top, they can keep that gap if they've got the pace, got the speed, but it is a big long run down into that marina finish. It is incredibly tough to do. We're going to see a new KOM go for sure tonight, because that is going to be happening, and this is going to be in big trouble. I'm loving it looks like a torn bag of aniseed on Winnets. I don't think they'd have stayed on Winnets for long in the rain that we had and the storms that took the national champs apart pretty much. It was great to see so many riders out there in a real battling sense, a real Dunkirk spirit is probably the right word for it, to be honest, in those conditions. Craig Genther now just putting in a big dig here to get back on these wheels. He's on a disc, he's on the aero. Now, Andy Driver saying he's got to push over the top here or the big guns will catch. Well, they don't come much bigger than the Wolf, and at the moment he's on their heels. You can just see Jimmy Allen. He had a feather. He's kept a power up, hidden away. Sly Wolf once again strikes as we come up, using that power up to get on the wheels here. And all of a sudden, after distancing him, the group have just been joined by the specialist breakaway merchant, the one who does an Ekimov, never mind an Ulrich, and sprints away in the last few Ks. Now at the moment, it's going to be the Yellow Beacon who's going to lead this up over the top. Jimmy Allen, a superlative performance in terms of leadership tonight in keeping that group together. Even let it go for a sprint. Genther comes through behind, and you can just see, look at those times. They're not 8 minutes, they're not 9 minutes. I think Jimmy Allen did in 10 minutes the last time. He's done 5 minutes up that climb behind. Yeah, 5:04. Just seeing Varty come through. Hepton's coming through as well. But they are all going to be chasing that group, and the leading group are together. They've not split up, and you can just see the gang just chasing the back of the pack here as they come up. So it is well and truly spaced out all over the road. We are going to jump in. We're going to try and find our way up to that leading group. Easier said than done in this on this part of the course, because this is where we are running our way over the top of the climbing into the base. This is the leading group. So you can ignore the bit on the right at the moment. We're too close to the other climb. We get still get interference on the as the crow flies climb gaps. The climb up is actually just on the other side of that ridge to the rider's right at the moment. This is the leading group now. Who's in this group that's going to count? We've got young Mr. Smithson in here as well. Can't discount him, not by any stretch of the imagination in here. No, sort of like Birmingham, Genther, Dryber, Ketteringham, Bainen's in here, Smithson, Jimmy Allen, the Wolf is in as well, Dryber, Coleman is in as well. Now Coleman would normally have gone for a long one off the up the climb, but he wasn't on the pace of the riders and able to break them apart. He's just losing a little bit of ground here, either that or he's laying back waiting to put in an attack. That heart rate 157, and this is where it pays to get that heart rate down, to use this descent to let it drop back down again, to give yourself a little bit of sliding room. You can just see Jimmy Allen at the moment, that heart rate 155, also 156, just tuck it in at the back, 154, 153, and you can just see using this descent to drop that heart rate down on the way through, and that's what you got to do. You cannot be sat at some crazy pace on the way through. Let's jump in with Smithson at the moment. So Smithson on the front at the moment. Matt Smithson, another of our real light riders, gone for the aero frame and aero wheels as well, as we just see Dryber coming through really quick with Coleman on his wheels, and then Dryber just easiest to come back off again. They've got the gap on everybody behind. We're not going to see anybody catch this group. They're in ones and twos behind. Where they are in big groups, the time gaps are huge, and this is all about who has got the best poker hand, who's going to go too early. This is a deceptively long run into the finish. We drop down, we come off this 3% gradient, it levels out just as we come down and in past the farms and past the pens. It will drop by the time we hit those pens. It's 0% now, so it's basically a flat run in towards the finish. We go underneath the bridge. We take the right hand turn onto the marina front. So we go past the first right turn and follow it on to the front now. Jimmy Allen again looking to break this up on the front of the group this time round. Who's gone with him? Is he going to be able to take 2 away? He maybe doesn't feel he's got the sprint. Drybur's coming as well here. So Drybur's coming across. He's seen the danger of letting Jimmy Allen go. And Allen are really pushing on hard there. A good attack by Allen. But time is going to start to run out now for these riders. You can just see they're coming through very, very quickly indeed as Coleman comes up onto the front. Ketteringham is right on him. The beacon is coming up. It's only 190 metres, 190 metres on the way through. We're riding in with Coleman at the moment. Has he gone too early? Driver's coming beside him. They're all trying to push here, but Coleman went first. Will he be the man who's going to take this out? You can see the gantry's coming. It's not far away, but Driver's coming. He's coming quick. Is he going to get him? Oh, it's so close on the line. Coleman just takes that. Driver came through, if I'm to be believed, and we're going to have to watch that back on the video. That was so tight, so close, and I think he got away with that. That early attack of Coleman took that. Now, here we go, group number 2. They were in with the leaders coming in. Who's going to take it out of this group? What a finish there as they come in, absolutely demolishing each other on the way through. Mr. Booth on the front here. It's Simon Booth just edging Ben from fellow viewer out as they go through. Eddie Dench in there, Varty in there. This is going to be our next sprint up here. Who's going to take this 2-up sprint here between Sandy Smith and Isaac Oliver? Looks to me like Oliver's got the jump on him, but he's got closed down. Now Sandy Smith starts to wind it up. He's up at the 12 watts per kilo. Is Oliver, but Smith has got the power and he takes him. He takes him as he comes into the line behind then. Super close again. It's Topping who is going to have the lead on the next group. So Topping's got the lead, then it's going to be Conley, Simonite, Saysel and Gang who come through. Pendlebury, Smith, West, Runnett, Lindley go through. Woodall's on his way in towards the line as well, but I think this is going to be Smith's. This is absolutely frantic on the run into the finish here. So Runnett coming in and through, Shelley Charles coming through, Richardson's going to be our next rider into the line. Richardson with clear air between him and the chasers behind. Let's take a quick drop down. Next group on the road, Chris Gale in, Bale in here, Tim Corby. Looks like Corby's going to lead this out. He has. He got the power to hold them off though. We're going to see a reaction. Bale starts to sprint here, but he's left it late. He's left it too late as they come through. So Corby, Bale, Ball, Chris Ball, of course, this is the man whose fingers were the fastest fingers from Mr. Ball on the go to Ruler Live. Good job, that man. Next up, let's take a little bit of a run back. We've just got to drop a little bit further back down here. Is Tukey now on the front, leading this out again. So we're just seeing an early kick, and an early kick is paying off. I think a lot of people getting caught out here as you just see the team behind sprinting is going to be Ozuke, who takes it from Stevens. There's come through. Then it's going to be Leash ahead of Cooling. Oh, Cooling almost had him there. Mantis and Hawkins and Clark coming in ahead of Bags. And just seeing everybody coming through very, very quickly indeed. We're going to drop back to Brad's group here. Brad Cheeseman here, part of the big gang of riders, and Claire Richardson in here. So Claire, potentially our first female finisher. Unless I missed somebody, apologies if I have. Absolutely flying on the way into the finish. So this group is going to come through with Forrester, then Cheeseman, followed by Richardson, Raccoon, and then Joff comes through. Good running by Joff. A massive thank you to this man for the tickets from Scott Sports for the Ruler Live, and looking forward to seeing the pictures coming back. Make sure that you give them a tag. Don't forget to support the people who support your sport. These are the people who are looking after the members of the DCG gang, who quite literally keep the show on the road and keep the wheels rolling on. So please remember, make sure you give them a shout now. It's going to be a roll. Oh, maybe not. Just about held on there. Neil Morn, cool as a cucumber there as that big group came in behind. Gail Phillips coming through in that pack. Ian Taylor, the man behind the 1080 promotions in here. Good ride by him. Little bit further back, we are going to see Cannon and Tracy here. So Tracy Seeley and Steve Cannon, I think it's going to be. So they're going to be our next two riders, just in with Tracy. Then it's Steve on the front at the moment. Just see Steve punching through the air now. Can Tracy take advantage of this? The kick starts to go here on the run into the finish. And Tracy winding it up here. Cannon starts to go, and Cannon's going to push over the top here. So it is going to be Steve Cannon who's going to get this as he goes in through the line ahead of Tracy. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow we have our Women's Only Wednesday on the Donny Chaingang, as we see Chris Cannon. Big sprint of Chris Cannon coming in over Ewan Perry. Then it's going to be the duo here. This is Dave Micklethwaite and Matt Crease. So Women's Only Wednesday. Don't forget, telephones, make sure you get on. Same format. Leader, red beacon, stick together, wait for the go hits. Knock yourself out, kids. Go how fast or as slow as you want to that finish. We've got leaders who are there to make sure it all holds together. All covered, of course, on the full speed events by myself, Matt Payne, on the way through. Just seeing Matt Nunn just come in through the line. A runners-up prize. Also a podium rider when it came to that ruler competition from Matt there. Just seeing Tiff Fletcher coming through, good ride by Tiff, and then cocking Maddie Smith coming in, Karen Brooks in there, Bobby Mason, Keith Hayward. Just seeing just riders coming through so fast. Steve Wilson in here now. Next up is going to be a battle between Owen Davis and young Benjamin Taylor here. Which of these riders is going to put the kick in at the right time? Remember, when that little green flashing banner is on the right hand side, you can just see it's the right of our riders now. As you go over those lines, there's 190 meters to go. Now, Owen Davis has done this a lot of times, but both riders starting to wind it up here. And it looks to me like Taylor has got the bigger sprint to start off with. He's got the quicker kick. Has he got the power to sustain it? He has. So it's Taylor. Then it's going to be Davis coming through. Behind then it's going to be Ruth Taylor, another of our regular riders on the Donny Chaingang. Good to have Ruth back in the Chaingang and riding strongly again. So Ruth Taylor will be our next rider to come in to the finish. Whilst we get these riders in, we are just going to take a little look at these time gaps. So we're going to watch Ruth in, potentially Mr. Owens and Topless, and then we'll try and jump back to Jimmy Allen immediately after that, and that'll be prior to our Red Beacon group and the gang coming in afterwards. So next finisher is going to be Ruth Taylor. Don't forget, the Tuesday and the Wednesday's open to all. Big kick there off Ruth, just coming in towards the line there. You can just see putting in some serious power as she kicks again into the line. Great riding by Ruth coming through there. And another personal best there, 16 seconds on the way through, fantastic to see. Then it's going to be Mr. Topless, who is just in front of Owen, so he's not all that far behind here. So at the moment, Dave Owens just sat behind Darren Topless. These are the two riders in to that finish. We know that Darren can kick and got a decent sized sprint. He may feel he doesn't need to. Now that gap at the moment, 2 seconds too much, given the distance in to the finish here. So here comes Darren Topless of Pine Cycles from Sherwood Pines over the line. He goes, then it is going to be Owens, our next rider in and through the finish, and then we're going to run back to our Red Beacon group. And I think Phillips on this way, Wilcoxon just a little behind. Well, let's see if we can get in touch with our Yellow Beacon, Jimmy Allen. Remember Jimmy here all week. The Wolf in action. So let's jump across to Jimmy Allen. Jimmy, how are you doing? That was a pretty savage bit of riding there.
That was great fun, wasn't it?
It was brilliant.
It was tactical. I like. It's like I think we said at the start. It's a good course for that sort of tactical style of racing. You know, there's a little bit of caginess at times, and then people make have a bit of a dig, and it comes back, and there's groups forming. So yeah, it's enjoyable actually.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I loved the way that there was attack after attack. We got everybody back together again after the sprint. Everybody playing the game, and people finding groups. The groups that formed after that front group, they were literally 3s, 4s, 5s, weren't they, on the way through? And that made such a difference. All the way up to about 20 as they came through. Just watching Mr. Dorsey on the way through, just making his way. And we better give him a little bit of coverage. He's got big test for company, but interested to see neither of these riders pushing on the way through the line. I think there's some sore legs. And your fellow Beacon, Carl Briggs, his first red Beacon duties. I can't quite believe it's the first time Carl's done that, because he did a great job there, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a stalwart, isn't he? I mean, I sort of met him on the real life gang as well, so he's a regular, and it's really good that sort of people are willing to give that sort of that time to do these jobs.
Definitely.
So thanks, Carl.
Yeah, good job by Carl. Well done, mate. And we've still got plenty more riders on the way in. Just seeing Phillips making their way through here. So just seeing Christian Phillips finishing now. Time to just roll his way in. I think Les is still out on course on the climb, but Les is going to have a good roll back down again. So, Jimmy, fast finish today. Fast flat section, of course. Then we've got what is actually, I was quite shocked to find, a couple of new courses, because tomorrow we've got women's Wednesdays, women-only Wednesdays on the Chaingang, and we're actually in Mercurianas for the Flatlands, and we've not used that on the Chaingang at all yet. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that rides with the group, because we've got some really fast riders returning. A lot of the pros had a couple of weeks off. They're now starting to make their way back into training, so that'll be really interesting how that rides.
That'll be worth a watch, actually. Yeah, that'll be good watch. I've watched a few of them, and they're always good races.
Yeah,
that course is flat, isn't it? But it's a little bit. There's a few rises, a bit like sort of New York. Maybe not as severe as New York, but yeah, a couple of places where you can have a dig and maybe make a difference, make a split.
Yeah, and the finish is downhill. It's actually a downhill finish into it, so you weave out of the village down into the finish line of the countryside sprint. So it's deceptive. I think it should be called hilly lands, not flatlands, personally, because it's definitely bumpy. Maybe not if you live north of Sheffield, but definitely if you lived out in the flatlands of like Doncaster, you'd be thinking it's proper
hilly for Gareth.
Hilly
for Gareth.
Everything's hilly for him. He was used to doing his main sport on a flat pitch that was only a few hundred metres long at the best. So we do got to say then our Thursday is the Open again, and another new course again, because we've never used the Volcano Circuit, to my knowledge, for a Donny Chaingang.
No, I don't think we have.
Never used it.
I have raced on that in other events, and it's quite interesting. It's because it's got that little kicker, hasn't it, before the finish, which gives it a little bit, but nothing too severe. So yeah, it'll stay together. And the other good thing about those little courses is, if people get dropped, they can get back on potentially. They can, they drop, but they could maybe take a lap out and still sort of get round in a sort of large group. So yeah, it'll be quite interesting to see what happens on that one.
Definitely. It's a course I absolutely hate, because, of course, it was being part of Watopia, part of the original. It was the short circuit that was used for racing by a lot of the rides prior to us getting Crit City. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that rides as Donny Chaingang. I think you've been sucker punched personally by Russ giving it to you.
He wouldn't do that to
me. Let's think about that.
I can see he's enjoying himself. That's the main thing. I'm happy about that. But it's it'll be a bit hotter on Thursday for us, I think.
I think it will be, and I think it's going to be very, very quick indeed. But Jimmy, time to get your legs up, mate. And I think the Stellaton have already got a cold one waiting for you. And
rude not to.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Jimmy. And we'll no doubt catch up at some point before the ride on Thursday. So cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Great commentary again. Thank you very much.
So a massive thank you to Jimmy, who is out and just currently getting his legs back into gear. Great job done by Jimmy once again. As Les just starts to make his way down, he's on that run down into the finish. You can see that even when, because Les was shouted quite early on from the group and decided just going to push his own way into the finish, but we try and cover everybody coming in on the chain. The Chaingang is for everybody. I know, got to say a massive thank you for the nomination into the Cycling Weekly Awards from myself. From my point of view, when we were asked about it, my understanding was that it was the whole of the Chaingang, and that was our view, that the Chaingang is a sum of all of the parts. It's not just me, it's not just Russ, it's not just the leaders, it's everybody, everyone at the front, the back, the middle, the banter, the Facebook page, the 2,500 people on Facebook, the support that people give riders, the DCG gang itself, who quite literally bankroll the whole operation. It is all about everybody. You take any of those bits out and it wouldn't be the same. I've got to say a massive, massive thank you. And it is all about making sure that we cover everybody. we do like to say thank you to the people on the DCG gang. So don't forget, if you have a few quid spare, then please don't hesitate to put that in to join the DCG gang. Even if it's only for 1 month in the year, it all helps. It means that we can keep the broadcast coming out, that we can keep all the data rolling, that we can cover when we're not in the studio or in the same place. We can make sure that we are getting the rides out to you. And of course, we reward you, whether that is discounts on OTE, whether it's the coffee, whether it's Fellow, whether it's amazing prices from 1080, a fantastic discount over and above what are already the best prices, and definitely the best shop for your Oakleys. Discounts with Velaskin, and every time you purchase something from Velaskin, it helps the Chaingang as well. OTE, as we said, and Halo wheels. Gritty on board, and of course Gritty are our next big giveaway. We have lots of intermediate ones as well. We've got some coming up from Nonnas in Sheffield. A massive thank you to Joff and all the team at Scott Sports for the tickets today. Let's jump back in. It's going to be Les making his way in to the finish here. So great riding by Les as he comes in and under the line there. So Les coming through, and now just that warm down to do for Les here on a very nice bit of kit as he makes his way out and around town. So all that's left is for me to say, make sure you tune in and watch. If you haven't ridden and you're one of our female riders who wants to come and have a go on the Women Only Wednesdays DCG, you can get the links on the Facebook page. Links are on the website. You can get in touch via Facebook. You can get in touch by email, and you can get in touch via the website as well. Don't hesitate to get in touch. We're here to help if you've got problems, issues. We can sort out a lot of things on the tech. You name it. We've pretty much been asked it on the way through, and usually we have some kind of answer. It's not always the right answer, but at least it's an answer. Don't forget, make sure you tune in if you're not riding to watch on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel. And of course, we're back on Thursday as well. And then we're going to be into Climate Week with Gritty on the following week. From me, Matt Payne, it's been an absolute pleasure. Massive thank you to Jimmy Allen, and from myself, from Russ, from Emma, from Jimmy, all of our regular leaders on the Chaingang. We'll see you on the next Donny Chaingang here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel.